Hello and welcome to this week's SEO Leverage Ask Me Anything Live. My name is Gert. I've been working in SEO for 19 years and I know a thing or two, probably not an expert yet, but I know a thing or two about SEO, so I'm happy to answer your questions today. We do these calls every Friday, so we pick up the questions we get over the weeks from clients in our coaching group, in our Erika client consulting sessions, in our audit calls we do after performing a site audit with our clients. And we pick up some of the questions and then talk about those in this SEO Leverage Live. So let's jump right in. Just first, I would like to tell you that if you send your questions to support@seoleverage.com, we're happy to answer them. We pick them up. We might deal with them here on the call live. For the moment, my team just collects those questions, sends them to me, and I then pick the ones I think are the most interesting here in the call. Not all are related to SEO. Some are related to online business, team building, management, etc. And some are SEO related. The first one here today is definitely related to SEO. How to create a good site structure. So this is one of my favorite topics, to be honest. Our clients have what we call a content map, which is like a spreadsheet tool we have prepared for them so they can map out what their structure is like. We help them to figure out what the current structure is like and then figure out a better way of doing things. Content structure, first of all, is important in site structure because at the end of the day, it's what enables Google to really understand what is happening, really understand which content belongs to which other article, how things are related, enables Google to make sense of your articles and their connection to each other. So a good site structure is one of the most important aspects when it comes to SEO. What is a good site structure? For a good site structure, I need to have the target client in mind and the main things they might be searching for. So take SEO, for example, we know there are people searching for in the e-commerce space. They want to sell more products on their online stores and need information about what they can do in e-commerce. We know a lot of people are bloggers. So we talk about what you can do on a blog in order to improve its SEO ranking. And there are a lot of people who want to learn SEO, which might want to attend our coaching program, which might want to follow these videos, hit us up on YouTube, follow us there, consume these videos we push there, and learn more about some tactics that have been working for our clients lately. A good site structure keeps in mind what your audience is going to be researching in, but then you want to go deeper. So if they're interested in e-commerce, you want to be talking about e-commerce all day long, all the different aspects, different angles, different doubts that can be clarified on your content about this niche. Go as deep as possible with multiple articles and interlink them properly in order to create what we call a topic cluster. So a topic cluster usually has a pillar article and then what we call supporting articles, which are articles that go into detail on a very specific aspect of this topic. The number one secret to SEO. This is something everybody wants to know. We get asked this all the time. The number one secret, the 80-20 of SEO. What's the really most important thing we need to focus on? Very often, and I'm afraid it's going to be here as well, the answer is there is no one secret. You need to do a lot of things in SEO. I usually compare this with buckets. There is a bucket about site speed. You need to make your site very fast. There is a bucket about content. You need to have good content that responds to search intent, which means why someone executed a search in the first place. You've got a bucket that's about usability, site usability. You've got a bucket that's about mobile usability. You've got a bucket that's about internal linking. You've got a bucket that's about structured data. There's a lot of buckets. And the interesting thing for SEO for me is that you need to fill all of them. There is not a single bucket you could leave completely empty. and still get a good ranking. You need to do all those things. This is why in our audits, we do like a 360-degree analysis of a website. We research the keywords and see if they are on track. We check out the site structure and see if this is on track. We check out how their searches perform, how useful their URLs are for Google, how many URLs of the ones they have, how many pages Google actually uses for search compared to what they have. We just had a project that has like 1,500 URLs and only 200 something are driving traffic to Google. So this is something very important. You need to fill all those buckets. The number one secret that's true for every single bucket is consistency. You need to consistently make sure every single one of those buckets is as full as possible. This means check your site speed and the site speed of the pages you want to drive traffic on a very regular basis, ideally automated. Check your content is up to date and corresponds to what Google wants to rank on a consistent basis. Get backlinks on a consistent basis, not just get 15 backlinks and hope your rankings are going to go up. Do this consistently. And if you consistently make sure your buckets are as full as possible, the natural thing to happen then is going to be very good rankings for your website. How do you make having a remote team work? So this is a very good topic, and I think I'm still a beginner in this, although we have been working with remote teams for many years. I think now we've got a dream team. So for me right now, we've got the ideal team and we're growing really fast. The ideal team in a sense that we have, with some external help, to be honest, nailed what it means to communicate within a team, how to structure a team, how to make sure the attitude is the right one before we bring someone into the team. I think this is where many remote teams fail. So there is not a process that's thorough enough before hiring someone for a remote team, because it really comes down to attitude. In my team, we don't force them to work from 9 to 5. We give them half of the day free, and with free organization, flexible organization, they can organize half of their work time according to their preferences. We just want to have them in a core time available and working in parallel, so we can do calls, we can synchronize, we can know what is going to be getting done in the next hours. Half of the time, for example, in my team, they can organize to their preferences. There are some that prefer to work on a weekend, some prefer to do the work really, really early in the morning to get it done and stop earlier and then have the rest of the day off. It comes down to attitude, because you can't do this with a team that's going to take advantage of it and work 2 days an hour, 2 days a week, and a day, 2 hours a day, sorry, and then really take advantage of the situation. You need a process that tracks progress. You need a process that tracks if results are being shown in a reasonable amount of time. And you need a team that's willing to learn all the time and do some research. You obviously also need standard operating procedures or SOPs. So this really means you have the process laid out about what needs to be done in order to deliver a certain service or to perform a certain task. Because if you have a team in an office, and we had people here before, we now very much remotely only. If you have people in the office, they might just ask you quickly, how was this done? How was this done, etc. In a remote team, this doesn't work. In a remote team, you need to invest a lot of time in training. I'm on calls every day with someone on my team that recently joined, and we go through the next step on our training roadmap we have defined. You invest a lot in training. You invest a lot of time in processes, in training people on those processes, and also we insist quite a bit in making sure everybody knows why we do certain things. So we don't have like processes, have someone with no idea about SEO follow this process and put up an audit. We train people to understand SEO, learn SEO, and then apply their knowledge with the audits, with the processes we have, with my help, with my analysis. And then you're going to get people that are happy to work with you, that see there is a future in this company, that are going to be attached. We do at least 3 calls a week We do one-on-one calls with team members in order to make sure we get it right or get feedback on what they think could be done in a better way. You probably in a remote team need someone who just works on account management, meaning communicating with the team, handles the task, handles client communication, etc. Because with a remote team, there's a lot of organization that needs to be done that could be easily handled or handled differently, probably in an office where you just would stand up, go to the desk, tell this person something, and then go walk back or give them a quick phone call. In a remote team, things work a little bit differently. But definitely, I think communication is very important. Upfront qualification before you hire someone is important to make sure they have the right attitude. And then it's really ongoing communication. We've got 3 team calls a week with the entire team on it, where we share what's going on at the company, what are the next clients, what are the next projects, what went well, what we need to improve, where do we need to refine the service. We refine our products with every single delivery. We tweak them again, we refine them, we make results better. We take feedback from clients and say, look, this is not as clear as I expected it to be. We make it clear, we find a better way to present it, to analyze it, and give clients better recommendations. We just launched Erika 2.0, and there was a question about this as well, Erika 2.0, which is like our Erika framework completely put on a new scale. So there's always something going on in the team, always something the team needs to be ready to learn, to pick up, to jump at, to be honest. And then remote team is probably the best thing you can ever do, because it also enables you to focus on what you want to focus most. I couldn't remotely deliver what my team is delivering right now on my own. There's no way, especially because they have a very high quality standard. They have a very fast turnaround. We usually turn around most audits in half of the time that we are usually assigned a team to spend on those, just because they're working such an efficient way that it doesn't need more time from them. So definitely focus on communication, focus on getting a good vibe in the team, and this really requires hiring people with the right attitude. What is Erika 2.0 all about? So this is something we have been working on in the last weeks. We had our Erika framework, which is something we apply to all our consulting clients, where we focus on evolution, research, interlinking, content, and action steps on every single strategy call. We stepped up a bit. So we had been using this for many months, and now we have put it on a 2.0 phase. Our clients now get a dashboard. Our clients now have a weekly analysis about what's going on the site, what they need to improve, if there are any technical issues, etc. They know exactly what are the conversions about, they know exactly how does this perform over time. They have a task list they can follow. They know when we ask them to do certain things, they can go back, check when they did it, etc. So Erika 2.0 is really bringing our same framework we have clients consistently execute to another level. So if you're interested in how this looks like, definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to walk you through Erika 2.0. We still need to tweak the website a little bit, so I'm not sure how this Erika 2.0 has left our internal areas. But yeah, the question is valid. We have a new Erika framework we are applying, and I think it's great. We're getting great feedback from clients who also have seen the version before. So we are very proud of having this, and going to present this very soon. When you have a WordPress installation, you usually find some recommendation that you should use a plugin for SEO. And there are 2 plugins that really are currently, I would say, the most used. So one is Yoast and one is Rank Math. I'm not going to go down the path of comparing features. I just would want to recommend, they're both good plugins. We've seen sites doing very well using both of them, sites using Rank Math, sites using Yoast. I want to insist on 2 things here. One, decide on a plugin and stick with it, because I've seen very a lot of impact when people switched to another plugin because they just heard this one was better. And then this new plugin had its new assistant, changed some configuration on the website, changed titles, changed meta tags, etc. And suddenly rankings dropped. So if you want to have an SEO plugin, there must be a really, really, really good reason that doesn't have another workaround for me to grab this plugin, use another one on a site that already gets traffic. The second thing is that plugins are only automated assistants. So if you tell them, look, I want to rank for SEO for small businesses, they are going to check automatically if you have this on the title, if you have this in the meta description, if you have this on an image alternative text, etc. These are things that are very basic. And those things, just because they have all the lights in green, isn't going to tell you or give you good rankings. This is a very big misconception. So people come to us and say, look, I've got this Yoast plugin. It says everything is green. I did a perfect SEO optimization job. Why am I ranking on page 8? And there's just a lot more things to SEO than just ticking boxes or getting red lights turn into green on an SEO plugin. So it's definitely important to have one. It's definitely important to get the basics right. But it's also important that you know that having the plugin and ticking the boxes is not going to automatically give you a good ranking. So decide on a plugin is pretty much, I would say, the same baseline if you use Rank Math Yoast, or there's another one that's all-in-one SEO. I think that's also decent. Use one of those, but then stick to it over time and don't change one plugin for the other unless you have external help that tells you, look, this is not going to affect your site. Simulate this on a testing environment or or something where you see, okay, what are the titles doing, what are the links doing, etc. before you go about such a change. At the end, I would just want to point you to SEOleverage.com. You're going to find all information very soon. You're going to find our book there. We talk about the Erika framework, explain how we apply consistent SEO work for client success and how we have been doing this in the last more than 10 years already. And what are the results clients are getting? How can you apply the Erika formula? How can you make sure that you do the right things at the right time? Also on SEO Leverage, you're going to find our audits, our consulting offer, link building services, and our coaching group. Coaching group especially is very interesting because you get a private chat with me where you can ask me questions about your sites, about your competitor, and get some SEO feedback from external. Even if you take care about your own SEO, it's nice to have someone to bounce back some ideas with, get some additional input, and take leverage or take advantage of the forum there, the monthly trainings, and a few more courses I put together once in a while. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, send them to support@seoleverage.com. We're going to collect your questions and answer them in these calls. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your time. I'm Gert. See you next week. Bye.